Okay, I'm going to take some broccoli sprouting seeds. I've got some distilled water. And I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of these broccoli seeds. And I'm going to soak them in this water. So I'm going to let these soak for a little longer to see if we can get more coaxed to sink. I'm going to add some more distilled water to it. Mix those seeds up a bit. Okay, this has been soaking for about 30 minutes, so I'm going to remove these seeds that are still floating. Okay, now I have a 2-piece system here, and I'm just going to dump the seeds onto this mat. This is a silicone dehydrator mat. I'm breaking up all the clumps here. Then I've got another base, and I'm going to place that right on top like that. And this is just a container that I have some nuts and bolts in. And I'm just going to press on top to weigh it down. Then I'm going to put it over here. Okay, we are on day 1 of our broccoli. And there aren't too many sticking to that, so that's good. Let's see if we've got any germination. And I don't know why the water's not draining out very well. Some of them are starting to germinate. And so I'm just going to give it a quick rinse just to make sure, especially these ones on the end, have enough water. And I want to make sure there's nothing in the bottom. And we'll place the weight back down on it. Okay. And since these seeds seem to be sticking a little bit to the bottom, what I'm going to do, the roots are beginning to come through a little bit. So I'm going to just put it into its dark phase, maybe for a couple of days. So I'll put this upside down, and we'll keep it in the dark for a couple of days. But first I'm going to spray it with some distilled water, just to make sure it's good and wet. And there are starting to be some roots that are coming through the other end, so I'll also wet those down. Okay, now we are on the morning of day 2, and let's take a look at it. Because we weren't able to press it down very well, the seeds probably, the roots are going to have a hard time pushing through. But we are getting roots coming through, so hopefully we'll still get a decent harvest. So at this point, I'm just going to spritz it a little bit with some distilled water and also the roots. And we'll keep it covered for a little while more. All right, we are on the evening of day 2, and I'm not sure if we're getting mold in this, or if it's still just the fuzz on the roots, because I wasn't able to push this down very well in the push down phase. And so I'm not sure if this is mold or if it's just still root fuzz. But I'm going to go ahead and just spray it down with some water, front and back. And we'll keep it under cover for a little bit longer. All right, we are on day 3, and this is not looking very good. I don't know if we've got mold problems with this, with all the white fuzz, or if those are just still all root hairs, because these seeds are not sticking down very well, because during the weight down phase, it wasn't pushing these seeds down good enough. Plus, I think it maybe was a mistake to soak these seeds before we tried to germinate it. But you can see a lot of the root is sticking up. And so I don't know if that is because the seeds are sticking up and so this is root fuzz, or if that's mold. I really don't know. I'm going to try a little bit. We've got quite a few roots coming through. It does smell kind of funny, so I really don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this down with a little bit of distilled water. And I'm going to fill up the reservoir with some distilled water that I have some A and B plant food in, so that we can start feeding those roots. So I'm just going to fill this up. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to put this under the light, and we'll just see what it does here. And put this under a grow light. And we'll see how this does, if it does anything at all, or if I end up throwing it away. Okay, we're almost at day 4 of this. I'm just going to go ahead and spritz the top with some water. This is just plain tap water. Making sure that I've got plenty of liquid below, which I do. And it's still hard. I still don't know whether or not this one will be salvageable. We'll see. We are on the morning of day 5 for this one, and it's actually looking pretty decent. Make sure we've got plenty of the food underneath, and I'm just going to spritz the top since there are quite a few roots that didn't go all the way down, just to keep everything hydrated. Okay, we are on day 5 evening on this. Going to check and make sure we have enough liquid. I want to add a little bit to that. Make sure that. Then I'm just going to spray this a little on the top. But this is looking pretty good, actually. And I will just add some distilled water to fill this up. We are the morning of day 6, and this is looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just squirt that and make sure we've got plenty of liquid underneath for those roots, and we'll keep it a little bit longer. The evening of day 6, and so I'm going to just squirt this down. And this is getting pretty close to harvest time. We'll maybe give it another day. All right, we are on the morning of day 7, and I'm going to add some distilled water to the reservoir of this, which has got some of the A-B plant food in it. So I'm just going to top this off. Make sure that the roots get plenty. And this is getting very close to where we're going to harvest it. So we'll be back when we're ready to harvest. All right, we are on day 8, and I am going to harvest these today. So I'm just going to use a pair of scissors. And so this is what our harvested broccoli microgreens look like.